We've met a number of talented Tennessee carvers over the years, and while most of them like some recognition for their work, they usually work in solitude. Well, not John Cohron of Whites Creek. Rob Wiles takes us to meet this talented carver who likes to create with an audience.
Jim Cohron is getting down to work. Well, not really work, more like his passionate pastime.
My wife had bought me a carving knife. She had gone on a girls' weekend over in Townsend, Tennessee, and saw this knife. It had a pretty handle on it. Brought it home. That was years before I started carving. It laid on the workbench. I never used it, and finally decided to give it a try, and when I did, that was the marriage. I enjoyed it. That was carving started.
Once it got started, it's been going ever since, with Jim deciding on a subject and then setting to work.
I'll draw that out on a piece of wood and usually take the wood to a bandsaw and then shape out, get a lot of extra wood removed. And then once that's done, come back to the chisels and knives to do the finish work with them. I also use some power tools just to take away a lot of excess wood because it is easier than doing it with a knife, a little faster sometimes also. Okay, I do some wood turning, and I try, when that comes around, I try to find wood that's been discarded by somebody. It's usually defective or have wormholes or splits or whatever, and I try to take that and make something pretty from it, particularly wood that's showing some spalting or discoloration from age after the tree has died. I've turned a root from a cherry tree, which is a beautiful piece of wood. I also carve some bark from cottonwood trees. Found some from a local source here that I can use, and I find that very interesting because you can't really decide what you're going to end up with. You have to let the piece dictate what you end up with because it's unpredictable on how it reacts when you start cutting on it.
Of course, there's lots of cutting when you carve, lots of sharp objects to deal with, which might make some people nervous, but Jim finds it relaxing.
When you get those real sharp tools in your hand, they're actually sharper than a surgeon's scalpel. I think self-preservation takes over, and you concentrate on the carving, and it seems that all the cares and the different worries that you might have are just gone. I find it extremely relaxing. The time just absolutely slips away when you start.
Once he gets started, you never know what Jim will wind up with.
I enjoy animals. I enjoy Santa figures and Santa ornaments and Christmas ornaments a lot. I've carved a little of everything. I've carved dogs and several different animals. But to tell you I like one better than the other, I really can't. I enjoy carving just about anything.
Many wood carvers crave solitude, the wood, the workshop, them. But Jim likes an audience, so you'll often find him carving on the front porch of this Whites Creek restaurant.
Carving by Jim, that's a good name. My name's Jim.
It is. It's hard to beat.
Yes, it is. Excellent work.
Thank you. When they opened, I asked the restaurant manager if he didn't need a wood carver on the front porch just to add to the ambience of that new location. And he agreed for me to make the move and try it out. And it's been a great asset for my life just to be there and meet many people and enjoy talking with them. And I think I helped them a little bit by answering some questions for people and give them the tourists that come by answer questions about our community and our city and our state.
Most of the questions from visitors to the Fontanelle start out something like this.
Oh my God, look at that.
It's like a hobbit.
Isn't that something?
Isn't that beautiful?
Let's look at the back. How was that?
Oh, how beautiful. Look at
Jim,
this.
you are so creative.
Which is music to Jim's ears, of course. Now, some remarks open the door to Jim finding out a bit about those who come from all over to visit Nashville.
Look at that.
Those are made from old sewing thread spools, antique spools.
I know.
which are getting harder and harder to find
I
because.
had some experience with sewing spools.
Oh, how's that?
Well, I used to do draperies.
Oh, okay.
And then there are even teachable moments, like explaining the difference between carving and whittling.
So you'll decide what that will be at some point?
It's always going to be a stick.
You always start from a stick.
Okay.
And you end up with a stick, maybe a little smaller when you whittle. A carver usually creates an object. A whittler usually takes a piece of cedar and sees how long shaving he can make and how thin it will be. In fact, I take a stick of cedar with me when I go carve at Fontanelle, and people ask me that same question, and I'll demonstrate what a whittler does versus what a carver. It's sometimes just a misconception. People hadn't really realized the difference in the two.
Oh, Jim knows the difference for sure, and he loves talking about either one. But most of all, he enjoys creating his carvings.